Breakthrough is here. Your life is about to change forever, ladies and gentlemen. Something extraordinary is unfolding in your life right now, even if you can't see it yet. The atmosphere around you is shifting, aligning, rearranging itself to bring forth the very things you once thought were impossible. You may have walked through storms, setbacks, and silent seasons where nothing seemed to move, but I came to tell you tonight your breakthrough is here. The waiting, the weeping, the wondering, it all led to this divine moment. What once felt like delay was never denial. God was not ignoring you, He was preparing you. Every closed door, every detour, every disappointment was carefully orchestrated to bring you to the threshold of transformation. You see, breakthrough is not just an event, it's a spiritual unveiling. It's when heaven releases what's been stored up for you all along. It's when the unseen becomes seen, when your faith collides with divine timing, and everything begins to shift in your favor. And I want you to understand you are not here by accident. You are hearing these words because something in your spirit has already been awakened. You've been sensing that change is near. You've been feeling that pull, that divine restlessness that tells you something is about to happen. But here's the truth. Before every breakthrough, there is always a breaking. Before the dawn, there is the darkest hour. Before the victory, there is always a battle. You've been tested, stretched, and refined because God was building the strength in you to carry the blessing He's about to release. What you went through was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you. You are emerging from this season stronger, wiser, and more anointed than you've ever been before. And the moment you decide to believe that your breakthrough is not coming, but that it's already here, that's when everything begins to change. The shift doesn't start in your circumstances. It starts in your consciousness. It starts when you say, I am ready, I receive it, I trust the timing of my life, because faith is not waiting for proof, faith is the proof. When you believe it before you see it, heaven responds. So tonight, as you hear these words, let something in you rise again, let your faith breathe again, let your heart open again. You've cried long enough, you've struggled long enough. This is your moment to step into alignment with what has always been yours. The struggle was just the setup, the delay was divine preparation, the silence was sacred shaping. Ladies and gentlemen, your breakthrough is not coming, it's here, and your life is about to change forever. The breaking point is the birthing point. Every person who has ever carried a dream, a purpose, or a divine calling will reach a moment that feels like breaking. It's the place where everything inside of you cries out, I can't do this anymore. It's that moment when you've done everything you know how to do, when the doors still won't open, when your prayers seem to echo in silence. But what you don't realize is that this breaking point is not the end, it's the birthing point. It is the sacred moment where God takes your surrender and turns it into strength. The breaking is not meant to destroy you, it's meant to deliver you into your next dimension. When a seed breaks open in the ground, it looks like destruction. It looks as if it's been buried, forgotten, and left to die. But beneath the surface, something divine is happening, life is forming, roots are growing, and what was once hidden is preparing to rise. That's what God has been doing with you. You thought you were buried, but you were planted. You thought you were being broken, but you were being born. The pressure, the tears, the pain, they were not signs of punishment. They were signs of progress. The soil of struggle was necessary to grow the strength required for your purpose. God uses breaking as His greatest tool of transformation. He breaks the shell so the life inside can breathe. He breaks the comfort so faith can awaken. He breaks the old identity so the true self can emerge. You cannot be elevated and comfortable at the same time. The breaking point is the place where your human strength ends and divine power begins. It's the place where your plans collapse so God's plans can unfold. Look back on your life and you'll realize that every major transformation came after a breaking. You didn't find your purpose in the easy seasons, you found it in the struggle. You didn't discover your strength when everything was perfect, you discovered it when everything fell apart. The version of you that stands here now was shaped in the fire of what tried to destroy you. You became who you are because you refused to give up in your breaking. There is something sacred about brokenness. The world teaches us to hide it, to mask it, to pretend everything is fine. But in the kingdom of God, brokenness is beauty. It's the place where grace flows most freely. God cannot fill what is already full, but he can fill what is empty. He can rebuild what has been shattered. He can anoint what has been crushed. The oil only flows from the olive when it is pressed. And the anointing on your life, that power, that wisdom, that spiritual authority, it's born in the press. The breaking point reveals who you truly are. When everything is stripped away, the titles, the image, the control, what remains is the real you. It's the part of you that still believes even when nothing makes sense. It's the part of you that still hopes when the evidence says there's no reason to. That's the part of you God works through. Because true faith doesn't show up when life is easy. It shows up when life is heavy. Faith isn't proven by what you say in comfort. It's proven by what you do in crisis. So when you find yourself in that breaking place, when it feels like everything is falling apart, I want you to pause and shift your perspective. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, start declaring, something new is being born in me. Because birthing is painful, it's messy, it's unpredictable, but it always leads to life. The contraction, the pressure, the intensity, all of it is working to push you into your destiny. You may be crying in one moment and rejoicing in the next. That's how breakthrough feels. It hurts before it heals. You've been carrying dreams that have stretched you. You've been holding visions that have cost you. And right when it feels unbearable, that's the signal that the new thing is about to emerge. Don't give up at 9 months. Don't stop praying when you're on the verge of delivery. Don't retreat when the pain increases. That's the sign you're closer than ever. The breaking point is heaven's signal that labor has begun. And here's the divine paradox. The thing that broke you will also bless you. The very situation that brought you to your knees will be the reason you rise. God wastes nothing. He redeems every tear, every trial, every failure. What you thought was the end was only the process of birth. The caterpillar doesn't know it's becoming a butterfly while it's breaking out of the cocoon. All it knows is that it can't stay confined any longer. That's what's happening to you. You've outgrown who you used to be. You've outgrown small thinking, limited faith, and environments that no longer match your destiny. The breaking is God's way of saying you're ready to expand. Don't fear the breaking, embrace it. Let it purify your motives. Let it humble your heart. Let it draw you closer to God. Because what's born out of the breaking carries more power, depth, and authenticity than anything created in comfort. The breaking point releases the fragrance of your true spirit, the one that knows it was made for greatness. This is why the enemy fought you so hard in this season. He knows that once you survive the breaking, you become unstoppable. He knows that once you discover your power in the pain, nothing external can shake you again. The person who comes out of the breaking walks with quiet authority. You stop chasing validation. You stop begging for doors to open. You realize you are the door because the kingdom of God lives within you. So when life feels unbearable, remember you are in the middle of a divine birth. Don't run from it. Don't resist it. Let it happen. The pressure is not punishment. It's proof that something sacred is being formed inside you. The night may seem endless, but the dawn is already rising. What you thought was breaking you is actually blessing you. What you thought was destroying you is delivering you. The breaking point is where heaven meets earth, where your surrender becomes strength and your pain becomes purpose. It's where God breathes new life into old dreams. It's where everything that fell apart begins to make sense. So hold on, keep believing, keep breathing through the contractions of your becoming, because you are not breaking down, you are breaking through. And soon, what you've been carrying in faith will be standing before you in full manifestation. Divine timing is colliding with your faith. There comes a moment in every believer's journey when everything begins to align, not by effort, not by striving, but by divine orchestration. It's that mysterious space where heaven's timing finally meets your faith. For so long, it may have felt as if your prayers were hanging in the air, unanswered, unseen. You believed, but nothing seemed to move. You declared, but the doors stayed shut. Yet what you couldn't see was that divine timing was not ignoring you. It was arranging everything around you. God was aligning people, places, and possibilities to meet your faith at the perfect moment. Faith does not move according to your clock. It moves according to divine rhythm. There are seasons when you plant, seasons when you water, and seasons when you wait. The waiting season tests the depth of your belief. Will you still trust when nothing is visible? Will you still stand when nothing seems to work? Because faith is not proven in the moment of manifestation. It's proven in the silence before it arrives. The silence is where God watches how deeply you trust Him. Divine timing is not slow, it's strategic. God's timing looks delayed to human eyes because He's aligning more than what you can see. While you're praying for a door, He's preparing the hallway. While you're asking for provision, He's reshaping the system that will sustain you. What looks like waiting is actually divine coordination. Heaven's calendar is not late, it's layered. Every event, every person, every opportunity is being positioned to meet you in a single moment that changes everything. When divine timing collides with faith, it happens suddenly. One day everything looks the same, and the next everything shifts. That's the power of divine acceleration. What took others years will happen for you in months. What seemed impossible suddenly unfolds with ease. You won't even be able to explain it. You'll only know it was God, because when His timing moves, there's no resistance strong enough to stop it. But here's the mystery. Divine timing waits for readiness. God will never give you what your faith isn't mature enough to hold. He will never place a crown on a head not strong enough to carry its weight. That's why the delay wasn't denial, it was development. Every disappointment, every detour, every closed door was building the muscle of your faith. You were learning patience, trust, surrender, the qualities required to sustain the blessing once it arrives. If He had answered too soon, you would have mishandled it, but now your heart is ready, now your spirit is aligned, now your faith matches the magnitude of what's coming. When divine timing and faith meet, everything changes. You stop forcing things, you stop striving and start flowing. You begin to sense that what's meant for you will never miss you. You realize that your role is not to control, but to cooperate, to move in rhythm with the unseen. The most powerful people on earth are not the ones who try to make things happen. They are the ones who discern when heaven is moving and align their actions with it. Think about how nature operates. The sun doesn't rush to rise, and yet it's never late. The flowers don't force themselves to bloom, they open in their appointed season. So why do we, made in the image of divine order, panic when things don't happen instantly? God created time, and He stands outside of it. He is not in a hurry because He already sees the end from the beginning. While you're anxious about what's next, He's already finished it. You're simply walking through what He's already completed. This is why faith must become your anchor. Faith doesn't beg, it believes. Faith doesn't chase, it attracts. Faith doesn't panic when it looks like nothing is happening. It celebrates because something unseen is happening. When divine timing collides with faith, there's no more resistance within you, only expectation. You start waking up every morning saying, something good is about to happen, and not because you see it, but because you know it. Many people miss their breakthrough because they give up one season too early. They stop believing right before divine timing moves. They let impatience cancel what faith was about to deliver. But if you can stay in faith, if you can keep trusting through the quiet, if you can keep believing even when nothing makes sense, the collision will happen. And when it does, it will be so sudden, so divine, so orchestrated that you'll realize why it had to take this long. You'll look back and say, if it had happened then, I wouldn't have been ready. If it had happened then, I would have settled for less. You see, divine timing is not just about when something happens, it's about who you've become by the time it does. The waiting was shaping you, the silence was teaching you, the delay was pruning everything that couldn't go with you into the next dimension. God wasn't just preparing the promise, He was preparing the person who would hold the promise. The moment your faith matures to match what you've been believing for, the manifestation becomes inevitable. That's why you can't measure progress by sight. In the unseen, everything is moving. God is speaking to people about you, opening doors behind the scenes, stirring hearts, shifting circumstances. It's like a divine symphony. Every note is being played in perfect harmony. And when the moment is right, heaven will release the sound, and your life will rise in tune with it. Some people will look at your breakthrough and call it luck, but you'll know it wasn't luck, it was timing, it was obedience, it was faith, it was every sleepless night, every prayer whispered through tears, every time you said, Lord, I still trust you. That is the collision point when heaven says now, and when that now moment comes, everything you lost will make sense, every no will reveal its purpose, every delay will show its divine design. Because divine timing is not about speed, it's about sequence. God needed certain things to happen in a specific order so the blessing could be sustained. You weren't late, you were being synchronized. Right now, even if it feels quiet, even if it seems slow, divine timing is in motion. Heaven is moving in your direction. The pieces are coming together, and soon what you believed in faith will manifest before your eyes. The alignment is happening, the delay is breaking, the divine collision is near. You don't need to force it anymore, you just need to flow with it. You don't need to understand how it will happen, you just need to trust that it will. Because faith doesn't demand to see, faith knows. Faith rests. Faith waits with joy, knowing that God has already set the date for your manifestation. So stay faithful, stay expectant, stay aligned. Because divine timing and your faith are no longer running on separate tracks, they're colliding right now. And when they meet, everything changes instantly, beautifully, and forever. You're about to walk into what you prayed, for there comes a sacred moment in every soul's journey when the prayers that once felt distant begin to materialize before your eyes. You've cried, waited, and believed through long nights and silent seasons, but something has shifted, the heavens have heard you. The time of asking has transformed into the time of receiving. You are standing on the threshold of answered prayer. What you once held only in your spirit, you are now about to hold in your hands. For years you spoke words of faith when nothing in your reality agreed with them. You declared healing while still feeling the pain. You spoke abundance while still counting every penny. You affirmed peace while chaos raged around you, and yet your faith never went unnoticed. Every prayer was a seed. Every declaration was a spiritual deposit into the unseen. Now those seeds have matured, and the harvest is ready. The prayers you thought were lost in the wind have been echoing in eternity, waiting for the appointed moment to manifest. That moment is now. When God answers, He doesn't do it halfway. He overflows, He exceeds, He multiplies. You asked for an open door, and He's preparing a whole corridor. You asked for restoration, and He's bringing resurrection. You asked for a sign, and He's sending confirmation after confirmation until you can no longer doubt that His hand is upon your life. What's coming isn't random, it's a response. You're walking into what you've been faithfully preparing for, whether you knew it or not. But here's the mystery of prayer. Before God changes your situation, He changes you. Every unanswered prayer was shaping your spirit. Every delay was developing your character. Every season of silence was teaching you to depend not on the outcome, but on the one who holds it. You learned to pray without proof, to trust without evidence, and to praise before results. That's the posture that unlocks the supernatural. That's the vibration heaven responds to, not desperation, but divine expectation. What you're about to walk into will feel both familiar and new. Familiar because you've already seen it in your imagination. New because now it will exist in physical form. You've been living it in your faith long before it arrived in your life. That's how manifestation works. You experience it spiritually first, then naturally. Every time you said, "It is done," the universe rearranged itself to agree with your declaration. Your words built the road you're now about to walk on. And when you step into this new season, it won't be through struggle, it will be through flow. You won't have to chase what belongs to you. It will meet you on your path. Opportunities will recognize you. People will be drawn to you. Doors will open effortlessly, not because you pushed, but because your energy, your frequency, your spirit has finally aligned with what you prayed for. You are now a match for your own miracle. Many times we think we are waiting on God, but in truth, He has been waiting on us, waiting for our faith to mature, for our hearts to heal, for our minds to expand enough to hold what He's about to give. You cannot receive the blessing of tomorrow with the mindset of yesterday. You had to be refined, purified, stripped of pride, fear, and doubt. God couldn't deliver the promise to the old version of you because that version wasn't ready.
But the person you've become through the waiting humble, grounded, faithful, that person is ready to receive. So when you walk into what you prayed for, walk in gratitude. Remember the tears that watered your faith. Remember the moments when all you had was belief. Remember that it was in the darkness that your roots went deep. Don't forget how you got here. Gratitude multiplies manifestation. When you thank God for what's coming as if it's already here, you accelerate its arrival. Thanksgiving is the language of fulfillment. This new chapter will not require the same energy as the last one. You won't have to fight like before. You won't have to explain yourself. You won't have to prove your worth. What's yours will fit you perfectly. No forcing, no chasing, no confusion. Peace will confirm it, grace will carry it, and joy will follow it. You'll know you've stepped into your promise because everything that once felt heavy will suddenly feel light. You're entering the phase where your surroundings start to mirror your prayers. The relationships you attract will reflect your growth. The opportunities that appear will reflect your preparation. The environment around you will begin to echo what you've been affirming for years. This is divine symmetry when the inner world and the outer world finally agree. Heaven has said yes, and now earth must respond. There's a reason you had to wait this long. The blessing had to meet you at the right level of awareness. If it had come earlier, you might have misused it or misunderstood it. But now you've evolved. You've learned how to handle abundance without arrogance, success without losing peace, and recognition without losing humility. You are not just receiving the blessing, you are ready for it. The irony of prayer is that it doesn't change God, it changes you. Every time you prayed, Lord, open the door, He was opening something inside of you. Every time you prayed, show me the way, He was showing you yourself. You became the answer to your own prayer because you allowed divine wisdom to transform your perception. And now, what you prayed for externally will appear because it's already alive internally. When manifestation arrives, it doesn't feel foreign, it feels right. It feels like peace, it feels like home. You'll walk into rooms you once dreamed about and feel, I belong here. You'll step into blessings that others call miracles and say, I've been here before in my spirit. Because faith travels ahead of time. Faith builds the future before your feet ever touch it. You've been faithful over little, and now the time has come to be ruler over much. This is the fulfillment season not of random luck, but of divine alignment. You prayed, you believed, and you became the vessel capable of receiving. What you see unfolding now is the echo of your own persistence. The universe is returning what your spirit has been sending out for years. Every yes you spoke in faith is now manifesting in form, and as you step into this answered prayer, remember this is not the end, this is the beginning of another level of creation, because when one prayer is fulfilled, a new vision awakens. God doesn't stop blessing, He expands. Your job is to keep believing, keep growing, keep aligning with the higher rhythm of divine flow. You are not stepping into something foreign, you are stepping into what has always belonged to you. You are simply catching up to what heaven finished long ago. So lift your head, straighten your crown, and take your first step because you are about to walk into what you prayed for. The door is open. The path is clear, the promise is waiting, and this time nothing can stop it from being yours. The OLD, you cannot enter the NEW season. Every divine shift requires transformation. Every elevation demands a shedding. You cannot walk into the promise of tomorrow while still carrying the weight of yesterday. The person you have been, the one who survived the struggle, endured the loss, and learned the lessons, cannot be the same person who thrives in the next dimension. God will not allow the old you to enter the new season because the old mindset, the old patterns, and the old fears cannot coexist with the magnitude of what He's about to do in your life. When God calls you higher, He requires release. He asks you to let go of everything that no longer serves your growth. That means releasing certain identities, attachments, and even relationships that kept you bound to your past, not because they were bad, but because they were temporary. The version of you that was built to survive cannot lead the life that is meant to flourish. You had to fight, crawl, and endure through old seasons, but now that armor must come off. The new version of you doesn't fight battles the same way. It creates through peace, not through pressure.
Transformation is not comfortable because it demands death, the death of who you used to be. The ego resists it, the mind clings to what is familiar, but growth never comes from comfort. Every time God calls you to evolve, He removes something that once felt safe. He'll close a door that you've been afraid to let go of. He'll end a chapter you weren't ready to finish, but that ending is evidence of new life. You cannot enter the promised land still craving Egypt. You cannot experience abundance while thinking lack. You cannot receive new blessings while holding on to old bitterness. The old you was necessary for your journey, but it is not needed for your destiny. That version of you learned, healed, and survived, and that was its purpose. But now something greater is calling you. You are stepping into a season where peace replaces panic, where clarity replaces confusion, and where purpose replaces pain. That's why so many things have been falling away. The pruning was divine, the stripping was sacred. God was not taking things from you. He was making room for what was always meant for you. You see, the new season requires a lighter spirit. It demands faith over fear, forgiveness over resentment, and wisdom over reaction. You can't think small when you're being called to expand. You can't speak doubt when you're meant to declare destiny. The old language won't fit this new landscape. God is changing the sound of your life. He's aligning your voice with your vision. He's teaching you how to speak from faith instead of fear, from knowing instead of needing. Many people miss their new season because they refuse to outgrow their old self. They keep revisiting what broke them. They keep rehearsing the past. They keep carrying memories that have expired. But when God says it's over not because He's punishing you, but because He's protecting your future. Every delay, every disconnection, every detour was designed to push you out of the old frequency and into a new vibration. The new you cannot emerge until the old you is released. You can't pour new wine into old wineskins, it will burst. In the same way, the new blessing cannot dwell in an outdated mindset. That's why life keeps challenging your beliefs, shaking your habits, and exposing what no longer works. God is stretching you. The discomfort you feel is not rejection, it's recreation. You're being reshaped into a vessel strong enough to carry more light, more purpose, and more revelation. The old you needed validation. The new you walks in certainty. The old you reacted from fear. The new you responds from faith. The old you waited for permission. The new you understands divine authority. You no longer need people to understand your calling or approve your path. When God shifts your season, not everyone will recognize you, and that's okay. You weren't meant to be understood by those who are not evolving with you. The new season has new companions, new energy, new assignments. You can love people and still leave them behind when your growth requires it. The shedding process will sometimes feel like loss, but it's actually liberation. When the caterpillar enters the cocoon, it thinks life is ending, but what looks like death is the start of transformation. The cocoon is dark, lonely, and silent, but inside, everything is being rearranged. The same creature that crawled is now being given wings. You are in that same process. You are being remade. Your spirit is being rewired for elevation. Don't mourn what's leaving. Bless it for teaching you what it needed to, then release it in peace. In this new season, alignment matters more than attachment. You can't hold on to something just because it's familiar. Familiar doesn't mean faithful. God will remove what's comfortable to make room for what's covenant. The old season taught you lessons, but the new one will reveal your legacy. You're not who you used to be, and that's the point. The way you think, speak, love, and create must evolve to match the magnitude of the vision placed inside you. Every time you step into a new dimension, you must undergo an identity shift. You can't walk into abundance still identifying as someone who struggles. You can't receive love while believing you're unworthy. You can't manifest greatness while still carrying guilt or shame. The mind must be renewed to align with the reality you're walking into. That's why the inner work has been so intense. God has been rewiring your thoughts to match the frequency of your future. You're not losing yourself. You're finding your higher self, the one that was buried beneath fear and limitation. You're remembering your divine nature, your spiritual power, your God-given authority. The old you was trying to survive the storm. The new you commands the storm to be still. The old you sought miracles. The new you understands you are the miracle. That's why the transformation has been painful, because you're stepping into a level of consciousness that carries more responsibility, more faith, more light. And so, when you feel that divine nudge to release something, don't resist it.
Let the old fall away gracefully. It's not rejection, it's redirection. What's leaving your life is making room for what's coming. The people who walked away were not meant to walk with you into destiny. The doors that closed were not punishment, they were protection. Every ending is an invitation to rise higher. You're stepping into a season where your energy is too valuable to be wasted on worry, doubt, or fear. The old you reacted emotionally, the new you moves intentionally. The old you needed signs, the new you walks by inner knowing. The old you prayed for strength, the new you embodies it. This is evolution. This is ascension, and the price of elevation is separation from what no longer serves your becoming. Don't be afraid to outgrow who you once were. Don't be afraid to walk away from the version of yourself that can't survive in higher air. You are crossing dimensions now, moving from potential to power, from waiting to walking, from believing to being. This is why the old you had to die, because the new you is ready to live fully, freely, and fearlessly. So release the fear, release the past, and release the need to explain your transformation. The old season prepared you, the new season will reveal you. Everything you've lost was part of the exchange for everything you're about to gain. You are not breaking down, you are being reborn. The old you was the seed, the new you is the harvest, and only the reborn can walk boldly into what God has prepared next. There comes a sacred moment in every destiny when heaven whispers, "It's time." It's not something you hear with your physical ears, it's something you feel deep within your spirit. It's that sudden stirring, that unexplainable peace, that divine knowing that your season has shifted. For so long you waited, prayed, and wondered if God still remembered your name. You questioned if your prayers had gone unheard, if your dreams had been forgotten. But now the silence is breaking. Heaven has moved on your behalf, and what once felt delayed is now divinely accelerated. You are stepping into a time of manifestation, the hour when promises take form and invisible things become visible. There is a rhythm in the spiritual realm, divine timing, and when that timing aligns with your readiness, breakthrough happens effortlessly. You no longer have to force doors to open. They open as you arrive. You no longer chase opportunities. They seek you because the appointed time has come. God has declared it's time, and everything around you must now obey that command. Situations that once resisted will yield. Paths that were blocked will clear. Hearts that were closed will soften. The universe itself responds when heaven gives an order. For many seasons you may have been hidden, unseen, overlooked, or misunderstood. But that was by design, not by accident. God hides what he values until the appointed time. Diamonds are formed underground. Seeds grow in the dark. Before public revelation comes private refinement. While you were waiting, God was shaping you. He was stripping away what could not walk with you into the next season. He was cultivating patience, endurance, and discernment within you, so that when the blessing arrived, you would be ready to sustain it. This is the hour where heaven reveals what it has been preparing. The people who once doubted you will be witnesses to your transformation. The doors that once slammed shut will open with ease. You will realize that nothing was wasted, not the waiting, not the tears, not the confusion. Every delay served a divine purpose. Every disappointment was a redirection toward your destiny. You were being positioned for such a time as this, when heaven declares it's time. Everything that has been held up is suddenly released. The resources, connections, and breakthroughs you've prayed for begin to flow toward you like a river released from a dam. The pressure that built up during the waiting season now becomes the force that propels your manifestation. You will find that things start happening all of a sudden, not because they were random, but because heaven has shifted the timeline in your favor. What would have taken years will now take months. What once seemed impossible will now unfold naturally. Divine acceleration is upon you, and yet with every new season comes a sacred responsibility, the responsibility to recognize it and align with it. You cannot cling to what is familiar when heaven is calling you into the unknown. The voice of God says, move forward. Don't look back. Don't question what was lost. Don't grieve what didn't work out.
It all served its purpose. What's ahead is greater than what's behind. This is the moment to walk boldly with faith as your compass. The same God who sustained you in the wilderness will lead you into the promised land. This new chapter will not resemble your past struggles. The energy feels lighter, the path clearer, and the opportunities abundant. You'll notice divine coincidences, people showing up at the right time, doors opening without effort, solutions appearing before you even ask. That's how you know you've entered divine timing. When it's your time, things flow. You no longer have to push against the current. Grace carries you. Heaven's declaration doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes you. You begin to think differently, speak differently, move differently. You carry a quiet authority that comes from knowing you are in alignment with divine order. The same words that once fell flat now carry power. The same prayers that once felt unanswered now manifest instantly. The heavens respond to your faith because you have stepped into maturity. You no longer beg for blessings, you embody them. Understand this: when heaven says it's time, the enemy can no longer hold you hostage. Every chain breaks, every limitation dissolves. What was blocked must now open. This is the moment when divine justice meets divine timing. God begins to repay, restore, and redeem everything that was lost or delayed. You will find that the tables turn so quickly it will feel like a dream. The same situations that caused pain will become platforms for your purpose. The same places that rejected you will now recognize you. You are not stepping into a repeat of your old life. You are stepping into an entirely new dimension of living. This is the realm where prayers become reality, where dreams turn into destiny, where faith materializes as fact. Heaven has issued the decree, and no power in hell can reverse it. What's meant for you is already in motion. The angels have gone ahead to prepare the way. Divine connections are aligning. Hidden doors are being revealed. Everything that once seemed uncertain is now being made clear. So walk with confidence, speak with authority, expect miracles daily. This is your divine moment, your season of revelation, restoration, and release. Heaven has declared its time, and creation must now echo that truth. You are not waiting for the blessing is waiting for your belief. The moment you agree with heaven, everything begins to manifest. What you feel stirring inside you is not imagination, it's confirmation. The winds of change have already begun to blow. You can sense it in your spirit, you can feel it in your bones. Something has shifted, and nothing can stop what's coming. The breakthrough that once felt distant has entered your present reality. Heaven has spoken, and when heaven speaks, the earth must respond. This is not the time to doubt. This is not the time to shrink back. This is the moment to step forward in faith and claim what has always belonged to you. The waiting season has served its purpose. Now the manifestation season begins. Heaven has declared its time, and your life will never be the same again.